Okay, everybody, you saw that title, so let's get right into making our sweet potato pie. So to start out, we're going to be using about a pound of sweet potatoes. So I'm just going to put them in a pot of water to boil so they can soften up nicely, and then we will move on to the next steps. Okay, everybody, our potatoes are finished boiling. So what we're going to do is just take a knife, get underneath the skin like so. Let me show you, actually move this over a little bit. Just get underneath the skin and just look how easy it peels. So we're going to peel these two potatoes and get them into our bowl, and we'll be right back. All right, everybody, now that we have our potatoes boiled and peeled, the next thing we're going to do is to just take a regular old masher or a fork and just mash up these potatoes. And they should mash up in 30 seconds. Here, done. Look at that. All right. They're still nice and hot. So what I'm going to do now is let's start adding our wet ingredients. To that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Next, we're going to be adding 2 eggs. Here we have our eggs. We have a whole slew of ingredients here. And let's just give this a quick mix. I'm just going to use a regular fork at this point because I'm actually going to use a hand mixer, but let's just mix this really quickly just to incorporate the egg. And then I'm going to show you a trick. We're also going to be adding some milk. I'm just going to add some of that right now. Not all of it, but just some of it. Alrighty, we also now going to be adding some sugar. So here I have dark brown and granulated white sugar. Let's add all of that to the mix. And I will put the exact measurements for everything in the description. All right, now that we have that nicely incorporated, let's go ahead and add our spices. So we have cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, and some, pumpkin pie spice blend. That's what it is. Cinnamon, nutmeg, and pumpkin pie spices. Okay, and lastly, I have here some melted butter. Let's go ahead and add that to the mix. Now, sweet potatoes tend to have strings in it. If you ever had a sweet potato pie and it had some strings or was a little stringy and you was trying to figure out why, it's because the potatoes themselves have like a little stringiness to them. So I'm going to show you a trick to get that out of there. So what you want to do is take your regular hand mixer here, and we're going to mix this, and as it mixes together, it's going to start to pull up the strings, and they're going to get coiled within these beaters, and then you'll be able to take them off. So let me show you here. All right, so as I mentioned, sometimes sweet potatoes has a lot of strings. So as you can see on the paddle here, you see some strings? Here, you see this? I'm just going to show you. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this off. You see? You don't want this in your pie, else you'll be having stringiness in your pie. So you want to rinse this off. Just run it under the cold tap to rinse it off. All right, so once it's rinsed off, now and clean, you want to go ahead and run it through it again to again pull out those strings before you bake your pie. Okay, everybody, I have run the hand mixer through this 4 times, and as you can see now, you don't really see any strings on this paddles, and that's how you know the batter is now ready. You want to get all those strings off, so we can go ahead and take these off, wash these up, and let's go ahead and get this pie mix into our crust. But actually, I want to share a little tip with you. What I like to do, let me go ahead and move this. What I like to do is to take our crust, and remember we're using homemade crust, so I just rest it in the fridge for a couple minutes, about 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is pop it in the oven, on our 350 oven, for just 3 minutes, just to start it. And then I'm going to fill it with the batter and then let the pie bake. But let me show you, this is like I like to do it. It's a fresh made crust. I'm going to again pop it in the oven just for about 3 minutes, just to cook the crust just a tiny bit on the bottom, and we'll be right back. All right, so what I did was I sat the pie crust in the oven for 3 minutes only, because I had it in the fridge, so just to cook it a little bit on the bottom. So now let's go ahead and fill our pie pan with our batter. And I'm using a regular pie dish, not a deep dish. You can, I guess. I really don't like the deep dish too much. I just prefer the standard, regular old size pie pans. And if you have a little extra batter, that's fine. Just put it aside for another pie. You can actually freeze it, or you can actually just bake it in a casserole dish to make like a sweet potato casserole, I think it's called, without any crust. That's good as well. All right, so here we have it. So I'm going to pop this in a 350-degree oven for about an hour, at least 50 minutes to an hour. Alrighty, and then we will be back with the finished product. Alright everybody, here's our pie. I just took it out the oven. It actually has been baking for an hour and like 25 minutes. I initially said an hour. Keep in mind, it really depends on how much filling you have in your crust. So if it's pretty deep, it's going to take a longer time to bake. So here I just punched a hole in the center. I'll do it again. And you can see it's coming out clean now. So now this pie is ready. It is fully cooked. So what I'm going to do is let this cool down before we cut into it. Okay, now that our pie has cooled down, let's give it a taste. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece. Try not to cut too big a piece. Let's see if it's cut through. I don't think it's cut all the way through. Alrighty, now it's cut. Alright, so let's give it a taste. See, as you can see, look at the size. It's done. It's nice and firm, not soupy. It's not supposed to be overly soft and soupy. It's supposed to be able to cut it nice and firm. That is absolutely delicious. I know that sweet potato pie is definitely a staple in a lot of households for Thanksgiving. It also is great for Christmas, any other holiday, or just because you like it. The spices are dead on. Not overly sweet to me. It has just enough sweetness. And the sweet potato come through nicely, and the crust. You see the crust? Not super thin, not super thick, just right, cooked perfectly. Definitely one worth trying. If you love sweet potato pie, never made one from scratch, give this recipe a try. I think you'll love it as much as I do. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching.